What's going on, everybody, and welcome. It is Sunday, and we are here for an episode of Between the Ropes. We love this show, kind of where we got our start, and it's still one of our favorite shows out there. And we've got a lot to talk about. This is going to be a very, very fun week. The next week or so, and a week, maybe a week after that, in wrestling. A lot of stuff going on, as you will see in our What to Watch For segment this week, which is packed. But we've got some stuff, Jeff, and we're going to take a night here to look back a little bit at some people who are special to us, of course, on our channel, and some wrestlers and things like that, people who we lost. And we thought it would be a good night to do that on the anniversary of some of the people that have gone on. And we would like to talk about. So we will do that. We've got a lot of stuff going on. We, of course, got breaking news. We've got, a lot of stuff. We've got Alexa Bliss. We've got Jeff Cobb. We've got Trick Williams and Joe Hendry. A lot of things going on. And then, of course, all the things coming up throughout the course of this week that we're going to have to watch out for as wrestling fans. So lots of stuff, Jeff, to talk about as usual.
Yeah, man. Lots of stuff to talk about. Whole lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Like you said, well, I'm going to give some of it away, but Friday was marked 1 year since Jodie passed away. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what we'll be doing on Tuesday for Fireflies Forever. Join us for that one. But yeah, that's obviously, you think about Sabu and everything he did. So yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, I definitely wanted to bring up Jodie. Just ask every single one of you to continue to keep Chris and the kids and their family in your thoughts and prayers.
Yep, for sure. It's it was shocking. And it wasn't very long after we lost Bray, and it was it was very shocking. And of course, the Chris and his kids are left to move forward, and that is, as you all know, I'm sure you've all had losses in life, and that's the hardest part. Sometimes the people who are left, when a loved one is gone. That's sometimes the hardest part of it. So yeah, for sure. We'll reminisce a little bit about how we met her and stuff like that, and what a big Bray Wyatt fan that she was, and we'll talk about that. And yeah, there's some sad stuff tonight. Obviously, we've got the Sabu thing and JR, being diagnosed with cancer too. So you do have things happen, and we'll discuss it all we'll talk about that tonight on the show. So,
yeah.
So let's get started. We've got some people out there. Thank you for joining us. First off, let's get rid of a bit of news. If you're new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the video for us tonight, please. It helps us out a lot. And also make sure that you hit the notification bell to be notified about when we have future content, which of course will be Fireflies Forever. We've got Alexa Bliss stuff happening, and there have been some more little teases that See Wrestling kind of keeps everybody up on. And so, you've seen some little teases from the Wyatt Six people that are on Facebook or on Twitter as well. So join us for Fireflies, and that'll be a very special episode, of course, remembering Jodie and with Chris also. And then we'll be back with TNA on Thursday. I know we missed this past one. That was my fault. I apologize for that.
Tazzy was on.
Yeah, oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Tazzy took care of it. Yes,
I joined them for a little bit until the stream decided to stop. And
shout out to Tazzy for that. Really appreciate that. I did tell him my daughters came in, kind of surprised me and everything like that because of the new job that I'm getting and all that stuff. So it was kind of a surprise there. Yeah. So thank you to Tazzy for doing that. Really, really appreciate that. And then we've got a TNA pay-per-view, Under Siege, is coming up. So we'll be here for that too.
Friday.
Yeah. Friday. So Thursday and Friday, double dose of TNA wrestling, 2 days in a row this week. So everybody that comes and checks out TNA, make sure you join us for the go home show, which we'll be doing our predictions. And then of course for Under Siege on Friday, which should be really, really fun, really, really good. And TNA has been great. I did get to watch the show last week. It was really, really good. So, all right, let's get started, Jeff, shall we? We'll get into it. We got a lot to cover. So,
I know you mentioned some breaking news, so we can start there if you have any breaking news, Joe.
I've admitted to you guys, I don't watch a lot of AEW. And I think we have this. I think we have this on the slate. Yeah, we do. So we'll talk about this a lot more later. But I didn't know MJF joined the Hurt Syndicate.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea because I don't get to watch a lot of that. But that's coming up a little bit later. But Jeff, if you know any more about that than I do, obviously, share a little bit of that, and we'll get into it later.
Yeah, I'll share more in a little bit. It's something that they've been teasing for a while now, and they kind of giving you the will he, won't he, and it basically came down to Bobby Lashley. Like, will Bobby accept him in? It seemed like Bobby was just kind of rubbed the wrong way by MJF, but it seemed like MVP wanted him in there, so we'll see how it unfolds. I will say that I was just waiting for Shelton Benjamin just to clock him because Shelton kind of moved back and he still has to sign the contract. So technically he hasn't joined, but for all intents and purposes, they welcome him into the fold. Basically, I was waiting for Shelton Benjamin though, just completely destroy him because he kind of snuck in the back, but we'll talk about that a little bit.
Okay, gotcha. And then, of course, we had some of this. We had Solo Sikoa, of course, qualified for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, which I think might have been a little bit of a surprise. And then, and of course, you got the thing going on with John Cena and R-Truth, which should be fun. I mean, I know nobody's really taking that, seriously or anything like that, but I don't know, Jeff. I kind of like it because you're going to start to see, Jeff, I think very soon that John Cena will kind of start showing some flashes of a turnaround. And I think it's going to start here with Truth a little bit. And I think it's such a great place to start because of what R-Truth does. And we always say how his humor affects people and it makes people laugh and stuff like that. And I think you're kind of seeing a little bit of it already, like with the press conference and how John came over and whispered in Triple H's ear and stuff like this. So I think you're seeing a little bit of it, and there's rumors now. You got the stuff out there about it's going to be Punk and Cena and stuff. And I kind of thought that might be the case, but whatever it is, I think that Saturday night's main event should be really entertaining.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And do I expect at all for R-Truth to win?
Mm-mm.
No. But I will say I was scrolling through some social media clips and there was a podcast, and I forget who now, but there was a podcast that brought up, what if, even if you only did it for a week or less than a week,
Right?
having R-Truth beat him would be pretty dang cool. But the flip side of that is John Cena then distances himself even further from the pack because it's no longer 17, it'll be 18 if he wins it back.
Oh,
Uh,
interesting. Okay.
so there, that's a thought that's out there. I wouldn't hate it, I'd say.
Yeah. They could even do like kind of a goofy ending where they like the referee maybe says he wins.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then it gives him the title, and then something weird happens, and they're like, "No, that he didn't really." Yeah, yeah, that would be kind of neat. I think that would be kind of a good way to go with it. But I think, look, Saturday night's main event, Jeff, you remember well, and I remember watching these when we were young. They were always fun shows.
Hmm.
They always had a lot of fun matchups that you didn't get to see a lot. And some of the coolest ones that I remember, and even the biggest stars were on those shows. Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, a lot of them used to be on, but you used to see matchups that you just didn't see. And I think that's cool that they're kind of honoring that, and they're doing stuff like that on those shows specifically because that's what they really were. They were just a lot of fun to watch, and you really look forward to them. So
Yeah, and the other thing that you have to keep in mind too is that this is WWE's opportunity to be in front of a bigger audience.
yeah,
Um,
yep.
so so maybe they pull out some different stops. We're
Mhm.
gonna talk about WWE since WrestleMania too. It might be a little controversial. I don't think it should be, but we're gonna talk about things in WWE over the last little bit too. So
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I guess we can move past that. That's pretty much all the breaking news I think we had. There really wasn't anything else that was really huge. So I guess Jeff will go on to the remembrances here, huh?
yeah, yeah. Let's. So the first one up, obviously, we mentioned Jodie. She passed away 1 year ago on Friday, and this Tuesday for Fireflies Forever, we will be doing a tribute to Jodie, and we will. I'm working on some special guests. I will say that we're gonna have some videos from a couple people. I will offer this up. So if you're watching this live or if you watch this after the fact, um, send if you want to send in a video. It might not make the show. I'll probably just do a video to put up on the channel, just depending on when I get these. But if you'd like to do a video, just remembering Jodie and offering some thoughts, um, please feel free to do that. Send it to us. You can email it to us or send it via DM, and Joe will get that over to me. But um, I will say the cutoff for that will be 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So um, put that out there. Um, just to give our people the opportunity to share because I know Jodie meant so much to so many people,
Mm.
and yeah, yeah, Joe,
Yeah, I was going to say, keep the, if you could keep the clips small, they'll be
yeah,
easier for Jeff to get.
yeah,
So if it's a minute or less,
yeah,
it'll be a lot easier for him to incorporate.
yes,
So if you want to do that, yeah, you can hit us up on the DMs on Twitter, if you want to do that, or we have a Gmail, and stuff like that. So yeah, for sure. Look, when people leave us, you try to remember the fun things, right? And when we lose parents and loved ones and all that kind of stuff. And I can remember, when we first met Jodie, and what a huge fan of Bray she was. And I can remember her, like, of course, getting Jeff and I that cameo from Tom
Oh man,
Savini was amazing. Oh my gosh, getting to see, we got like a tour of Savini's, like the inside of his house. I saw the
yeah,
Jason mask hanging up on the wall. Like, oh, this
yeah,
was amazing.
yeah,
And then, we she was a super fan. She was absolutely a super fan. And hearing the stories about her meeting him and talking to him and having those cameo things with him going. And of course, Jeff, you got to share a moment, of course, when you both went and got the pictures taken with Bray, which I would have
yeah,
loved to go to, but my stupid knee stopped me from being there.
yeah,
But it was still cool to see. And yeah, it was and that's why we did the show, um, mostly for Chris, because it's a good place for him to come out and just share. But I think it was just a good tribute to what she's done. And I know, the Wyatt Six haven't been on and things like that. I get it. I know, but I'm sure at some point they'll be back, and and when they do, we'll be there.
mhm,
And that's what Jodie would have done, because
yeah,
she carried, Jeff and Jodie carried, and I know I've said this a gazillion times before, but they carried a show that had no business even being continued, because there was nothing going on. Bray was out. He was out sick. He was out of wrestling for a while. We didn't know what was going on, and so. But they did a great job in carrying it. Had some amazing guests on there. They had a famous horror director come on there. I mean, they carried the show, and it was really, really good. And a lot of you guys came out and watched it, all the time
yeah,
on that day. So yeah, she's obviously missed by the community. It was a very, very sad time, and of course they did that amazing tribute, putting her in the script on the video. They had her name in the script on the Wyatt Six thing, which was awesome. And yeah, so just so many cool things that we would talk about with theories and everything like that, and it was just a very, very cool time. So yeah,
yeah.
so if you can come out and join on Tuesday, which will be a really special episode. So
Yeah. I'm on Tuesday. Um, I'm gonna share a story that I haven't shared publicly.
okay.
Um, it involves when I was back home in South Carolina, trying
Mm,
my best to get back up here, to be near my kids again. And Jody and Chris, out of the kindness of their heart, did something for me to help me with that. And I feel like I need to share it, because it means a lot. And without their help, it would have definitely been a longer process. Um, but another cameo that I got was from Matt Hardy, and
mm,
um, I'm a huge Matt Hardy fan. Like, have been a fan of his forever, and I was struggling, um, with some depression, and there are times even now that I'll go back and listen to the cameo that I have from Matt Hardy that Jody got. So I know that so many of you talked to Jody and were able to share theories, and she was always open to that. I always loved that. Um, and you got close to her, and she became like family. And I think that's why that evening that I got that call from Chris, it was surreal, and it's still surreal. Um, but I as much as I know that many of us are hurting, um, I will commend Chris for his strength over this past year. Um, and although it was a tragic way that we all kind of came together in terms of us creating Fireflies Forever, and Chris, doing his tributes weekly to Jodie. Um, I feel like Chris is a part of our family, and I tell him this quite often, but he's stuck with us now. We're family. He's got us in his corner now. But I pray for him. I pray for his children. I pray for their families daily, because man, that's such a horrific, um, just a terrible loss.
Yeah.
And I I want us all to continue to be caring, compassionate, as I know we will be. But many of you out there have sent some nice things to Chris, um, and have been so kind to him. So continue to share that love. Continue to keep her memory alive and keep her spirit alive. And yeah, join us on Tuesday, because I know there's going to be a lot of folks that are going to share memories and different things. And yeah, I hopefully all of you will too.
Yep, absolutely. Make sure you come out. Oh, did you see my tribute on X? Be a rainbow in someone else's cloud, because that's what Jodie will always making us smile when we felt down. Jodie passed the day after I turned 51. Miss her every single day. Can't believe it's been 1 year already. Hoping you all are holding on. Hi, Sean. And miss her so much. I still find it hard. Yeah. Many like Jeff said, many people became very, very close to Jodie. A lot of times too. And I don't know. I know you guys all pretty much know her from Fireflies, but we had a lot of mark out moments on big wrestling shows too. That were pretty fun. We got to mark out about a lot of things. Obviously, I think maybe the biggest one I remember was Bray's return. When he came back in Philadelphia, was just crazy, dude. We probably didn't stop screaming for like 10 minutes. But
I just remember that clip.
Oh my gosh.
I remember somebody clipping it, and
yes.
it was that clip was awesome.
That and WrestleMania, when we were all screaming during the Cody Rhodes thing too. That was She really she brings things from a different perspective, because guys celebrate one way, right? Women celebrate a little harder when something makes them excited, and I think that really brought out the true. She kind of became a wrestling fan because of Bray and because of Chris. So she hadn't been watching it for as long as sometimes Jeff and I were a little bit older, right? So we got to see a lot of the stuff going on from the 90s, the 80s, even the 70s. And when you go through all that, you've seen so many wrestling moments in your life that were huge, and it takes a lot sometimes to kind of get you really excited. But when you have someone on the show that didn't get to live that way and just became a new fan, you get it from a different perspective, and it kind of just brings a little more excitement and stuff to you as a person who's kind of seen it all. And that's kind of what she did. And it made a lot of that really fun. So.
Yeah. And to give people kind of a peek behind some of our thinking about our channel, I think in some ways, intentionally or unintentionally, we structured things with that in mind, because Jodie, her being the fan that she was and so passionate about Bray, and Joe being the DJ, and having that great voice, and having the knowledge that he does, and me being more like a color commentator, and since I have some inside knowledge of the business, so
and don't sell yourself short, Jeff. You've done Jeff does all the inside. I still marvel when I go back and watch the early shows that we did Oh my God. Like we weren't even on video, guys. We were not on video. If you've ever watched some of our early stuff, we weren't on video. Jeff composed all of that stuff to make it look as good as it did. Jeff is, I wouldn't be doing this without Jeff. He knows that. And, so, but he does all this fantastic stuff, the work that he's done, the graphics that he's done over the years, the way that everything looks and comes out. That is all him. I am never was a tech person whatsoever. I'm lucky if I can get the button to work on YouTube when I have to do the stream myself. And I'm not kidding. So, you all can see when I'm doing things and when Jeff is. So yeah, look, it was just a great, and Jeff, I'm gonna let you continue, but we brought Jodie in obviously, and we had others in too, that joined us for the streams back then. And, it all just seemed to kind of flow together.
Yeah, it did. And, I think there are times when, we definitely have fun. We enjoy what we do, but I think, I wouldn't be being completely honest if I said I didn't miss, that.
Yep.
Because, it like you said, I think sometimes, especially if you've been a wrestling fan for as long as we have, I don't want to say take it for granted, but you don't get moved as easily.
Yeah.
With certain things. And,
yep.
And your reaction kind of dictates, maybe you don't go completely crazy about something that you should absolutely be losing it over.
Yep.
And having people that are newer to wrestling, that are passionate about it, that want to learn more about it, is definitely fun. And it's, again, it's something that I feel like worked really well with our channel. And but like I said a little bit ago, through our connection with Jodie, we were able to meet Chris. And he's a part of the family. Really enjoy doing Fireflies Forever with him. But yeah, man, we definitely aim to keep Jodie's memory alive. And we'll talk more about her on Tuesday.
Yeah, she did. She brought a lot of people. We got to shout out Brandy for Brandy doing the stuff with us. Nicole, obviously, Brittany K. Somebody mentioned. They were all through. Brandy we met, but we had thought at first that having Brandy and Jodie on would be cool because you'd have two guys, two women's perspective, and then Jodie just was friends with all these other people that we got to know because of her.
Got to shout out Dom.
Yep.
That's how we got introduced to Dom.
Yep. I mean, even if all the people that were friends of Bray, most of them that Jodie reached out to, Jason Baker, Kyle, and I'm sure I'm forgetting Jesse Cage. Yeah, she was the one who got in touch with all of them, and got them to the show. So yeah, a lot of the old, if you want to reminisce, it's all out there for you on YouTube. If you're a newer watcher of the show or listener to the show, I know some of you have been with us forever, but and we thank you obviously for that. But if you want to go and listen to some of that old stuff, it's very cool. Especially the people who were friends with Bray and knew him really well, and give us all that amazing information that we weren't privy to, thanks to Jodie. But yeah, come out and join us, please. It'll be of course a little sad, but it's also a celebration. And so come out and join us. It would mean a lot to Chris. So
absolutely.
Yep.
All right, man. We'll move and remember Sabu, who unfortunately passed away. Joe, give me some of your initial thoughts just on Sabu the wrestler. Like when you first saw Sabu, what were your initial thoughts?
I'll tell you, Jeff, he was one of the reasons I love to watch ECW.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget the first time I saw this dude come out to the ring. and he would take that turban off, and the scarring on that man's
Oh
forehead,
God.
I have never seen so much scarring on a forehead as Sabu had. And then I would watch his matches, and then I'm like, dude, and he would take the slightest little bump, just a slight little bump to that noggin of his, and he would just start bleeding, just like just a little knock of a knuckle, and all of a sudden, whoop, it would just open up, man. This man bled, I think, maybe more than a lot of people I've ever seen bleed on TV.
Yeah.
And he was just, this guy was insane, man.
Yeah.
He was so much fun to watch. And again, like ECW was so different for me because I didn't get to see, like, being up in the north. We got WWF, right? And WWF didn't show a lot of that. And the only time I could see bleeding and stuff like that was in magazines. When I would buy the wrestling magazines, and you'd see the crimson mask on Ric Flair and all that in the covers of the magazines. And, that's the only time I'd see that stuff. And then as I got a little bit older and I was able to watch ECW because it was on so late at night. But oh my gosh, yeah. There are characters, that go above and beyond. But this guy, holy, I really loved it when he was on the show. And the matches he'd come out in and stuff like that was just, it was so much fun. And again, you see all this stuff that he did, and that picture right there says it all. The barbed wire and the chair, all that kind of stuff that we kind of like, we don't see much anymore. Now we just got that announcement that TNA's taken out all that. No more blood or anything in any of their matches. So all this stuff that you see, now Macklin just had that match with Eric Young where they were both very bloody. You wouldn't see that today, the way it is, if it wasn't for Sabu. So and died quite young, Jeff. What was he, 64 or something like that? 65?
I think so.
Yeah. It was, glad that we got to know him, got to see him wrestle, but gone much too young. And
He was 60, Joe.
60 years old, man. Yeah, rest in peace. And our thoughts and our prayers go out to his family and friends. It's always sad when a legend goes, and again, like I said, that's much too young. But yeah, it was. He's just an amazing individual and one of the pioneers of a part of wrestling that was really big. Not so much now, but it was really big in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and wouldn't have been that way if it weren't for him.
Yeah, I mean, like um, like Conrad just said, I'm not gonna lie, I just had to explain this to some younger fans. You would see stuff today and say, "What's the big deal?" But back then, you just had to be there to
Yep.
understand Sabu's impact. Absolutely.
Yep.
I mean, the dude was. I mean, you want to talk about hardcore, you want to talk about extreme.
Yep.
You look those words up in the dictionary, and they have Sabu's face next to it
Yeah.
because that man was extreme. He embodied what it was to be ECW.
Yes, he
When
did.
when people would say, I am ECW, no shade to AEW, but ECW was I'm with ECW before there was a I'm with AEW.
Yeah.
And this guy was one of the folks, one of the reasons why you stood behind ECW and enjoyed what they did, as violent and as wild and as crazy as it was. This dude was just a legend, man, and you know, just 60, far too doggone young. Um, this tends to happen a lot with athletes and
It
wrestlers,
does.
where
Yeah.
we lose them far too soon. They don't get to enjoy um, latter years in life. And the other thing that I would say to that point is the next time as a fan you want to gripe about someone botching something or whatever the case may be, think about what these people do on a day-to-day basis to entertain you.
Yep.
Maybe have a little more appreciation for what people go through to deliver great entertainment. And yeah, man, rest in peace, Sabu.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Part of the thing with wrestling, right, is our memories that we have. I know that I've grown up with many, many memories. From when I was a young boy, 7, 8 years old, watching it to now. It's the memories that we have. Just like anything we see that's entertainment, movies that mean a lot to us, things and stuff. But ECW really, really changed me as a wrestling fan. Because it came on right when I loved to be up late at night. It came on late at night because they couldn't show it they wouldn't show it on cable by me before midnight. They would not, because they had stricter rules and stuff about that kind of thing. And so, watching it really, really, did change it for me. And I'll never forget a lot of that. A buddy of mine went to see an event, and I really wish I would have gone with him because he did invite me. They had an event at Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania. They used to go there quite often. And he got to see. Actually, they would go into the city. This is a little small town, and the fans would rip off stop signs from the outside. And they would take the stop signs into the event, and the wrestlers would just grab the stop signs and whack people with them and stuff like that. Like, it was crazy. And he got to see Sabu wrestle live. Along with getting spit on by Chris Jericho, which was his claim to fame for going to the matches. They were making fun of him, and Jericho just turned around and just spit on him. But I really wish I would have gone now, because that would have been so cool to see. And the tickets were so cheap. I think they were like $10 to get into the event and stuff like that. But it was just it's so much fun, and that's why we love wrestling, because much of it you reminisce, like I said, I'll never forget it. I'll never forget all the shows, and we'll never forget Sabu for what he did for pro wrestling. So,
and you see what Clown said there, and Conrad brought up the same point.
Purposely stumble or fall off of the ropes and reset to show fans it was real and not a practice dance. Yeah, yeah. And so that's why we all hate that. Conrad, like, as botched in parentheses. We dislike that, and that's because so much of that is seen now. And then whenever people see something like that, they write them, it was a botch. That never mattered to me. Who cares? Because the first thing on my mind is always like, and Jeff knows this well, you try to get in there and do that.
Mm-hmm.
You try to go in there and do that and see that you can can do that kind of thing that these guys do.
Just get in the ring. Film yourself getting in the ring.
Yeah.
Please.
I went in, my buddy Shane, who was on a show with Jeff and I. He had a ring, and he had a gym for a little while that he was practicing in. He had us just run and go off the ropes. I literally went off the ropes one time, and I almost fell right on my face in the middle of the mat. So yeah, don't ever think that this is easy. They make it look easy because they're so good at it. But don't ever think that what they do is simple, because it is absolutely not.
There's so much work that goes into it that people don't even realize or understand.
Yeah.
And Joe, you talk about running the ropes. I always say to people who have criticisms for wrestlers, or say, well, this wrestler is bad or that wrestler is bad, do me a favor. Just go take a bump.
Yep.
Just one. Then the next day, let me know how you're feeling, and let me know if you would take another one. Because then what I want you to do is look at these matches and see how many they take in the course of a match,
right?
And how many times they do that a week, times that by the year, and tell me if your body will hold up.
Yeah. Yep. No doubt. And it's not all about just being huge muscles. That's not what it's about. It's about making, that's what it really is. It's the people who can do that and continue to keep getting up after they do that. And that is not easy. I liken them to stunt people in movies. And that's what and you can see, you go back in movie history and see how long some stunt people have lasted over the years. I'm a big Friday the 13th fan. Kane Hodder, who played Jason in like 3 or 4 of those films, was a stuntman before he did that. And honestly, that guy now has trouble walking. His back is messed up. His arms messed up. All that stuff from being a stuntman all those years. And so, that we wonder why we lose a lot of these people early and young, is because of what they do to their body. So don't ever forget that, guys. When you're watching, don't ever take that for granted, and realize that, yes, they're going to make mistakes, but stuntmen do too. You just don't see it. That's why they do 17 takes on one scene, because they have to keep doing it over and over and over again. Some of them have to fall out windows and through doors, and and they have to do take after take after take after take after take till they finally get it right. Wrestlers don't get that. It's live, and they don't get second takes. So yeah, just never forget that. And that's why the whole botch stuff, it really bothers me. I really don't like it, and it gets on my nerves when people say that, because they just don't know. They just don't get it and don't understand. So, but anyway, yeah. Look, we remember Sabu, and we will continue to remember him for all the things that he did for pro wrestling. So,
absolutely. All right, man. Well, we got a new arrival in WWE, Joe.
Yes, we do.
JC Mateo, formerly known as Jeff Cobb.
This guy is a brick, what house, man. Holy. He's just like a walking mound of muscle. I haven't seen him much because I didn't watch a lot of New Japan.
Yeah.
But dude, holy, when I saw him walking in, it was like he just looks like a wall. Like if someone gets thrown into him, he's just gonna bounce straight off of him. I'm like, dude, I would not. And I'm watching him wrestle LA Knight, and I'm like, oh my God, LA, you are in trouble. I'm like, dude, and I love LA Knight, but oh man, where they're going with this now, and it looks like they've got another storyline developing with Solo and stuff like that, and it almost kind of seems, like the band is back together a little bit. But oh man, he's something else. And I knew, I know a lot of people knew we were going to get him and stuff like that, but didn't really quite know how it was going to go. But yeah, what a beast this dude is. And man, they just keep bringing these guys. They just keep doing this. Jeff and I talked about this a while back. When Roman and them were together, we said, my God, with all these wrestlers that are related to them, they could keep this going for the next 30 years. Mm-hmm. There's just so many of the family and everything like that are in, and we just keep getting these big dudes, and it's like, holy cow, they're just gonna. Yeah, he's unbelievable. He is really unbelievable. Just a powerhouse.
Yeah. Which that's the part. Like, is he connected to the family? Is my question. I don't know that he is, and that's why I was a little bit surprised that they immediately tied him with Solo.
Yep.
And then gave him the name change. What I will say is, if you haven't seen him and Bronson Reed, go back and watch some of those matches, because those two, you want to see big man matches that are just outstanding, and you like the big man match, you like the heavyweight or super heavyweight match from back in the day. Go check those two out, because my goodness, they tore the house down. So they're out there on YouTube. Go check them out. But yeah, Jeff Cobb is a beast, and I just think, I'm the same way, Conrad. I like Jeff Cobb. I'm not a big fan of the name change, but we'll see what happens. We'll see how they repackage him for WWE, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm hoping for good things for him. I don't want him to get lost in the show.
Yeah.
Again, I say this really for all wrestling companies at this point. it's great to bring in names. Great to bring in names. But the question is, what are you going to do with them?
Yeah.
2 years from now, I don't want us to be on this channel talking about releases and we mention some of the newer names that
Yep.
WWE or AEW or TNA has brought in.
Yep.
So again, what do you have? What do you have for them? So
Yep.
I just hope that they do some great things with them. And yeah, if you're not familiar and you want to learn more about what this dude can do, and Friday was like your first little glimpse of his power, go check him out on YouTube. There's a lot of great stuff out there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I'll be doing that myself because I have to study up as well. Yeah, look, Jeff's 100% right. It's great when they bring in these people and stuff like that, and it's obviously why they let some go and then they bring some in and things like that. But yeah, you do have to hope that and who knows, Jeff, maybe we'll get to relive the Bronson Reed thing when Bronson comes back.
Maybe so. I'm hoping
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that would be absolutely amazing to see that. But yeah, it's great to see these new arrivals. But like Jeff said, it comes a little bit of caution because you want to make sure that they get thrown into the right stuff and they get put into the storylines where they are they're featured and they're not kind of lost in the shadows. Because you do have, that's the thing with WWE. You're always going to have your superstars. You're always going to have the guys like Roman had said, he's going to come back in June. Roman is obviously a part-timer. But when he comes back, guys like him and Seth and Cody and John Cena, all these guys, and John's, of course, going to retire, but CM Punk, they're going to overshadow everybody that they step out with because they're the top of the top. And so these people that come in kind of what you would call maybe a little bit of an undercard, you gotta make good ways. And that's where storyline comes in. You got to have good storylines set up. They're going to pull people's interest in. And that there are people saying, "Oh, we get a new bloodline now, another bloodline going on." We kind of got a little bored with that and stuff. So you really have. That's where story writing and storyline comes in. So hopefully they'll be able to do that. I'm not familiar with Jeff Cobb, but based on how he's being packaged on SmackDown so far, I'll give him a chance. The standing moonsault he did was awesome. Don't forget to check out Jeff Cobb's work in Lucha Underground as Mantanza Cueto. So there you go. Yeah, there's a lot of places where you can go check him out. So do that. If you don't know, it's your best thing to do. Go out to YouTube, watch some matches, and get familiar. So that's the best thing you could do. But I'm excited. It's sad when people go, but hopefully they will replace some of these people with others, and we'll get some new things going on in some of the storylines. So. Yeah. Good stuff.
All right, man. So we got another return.
We did. Miss Bliss.
Miss Bliss returns, and she teamed up with Zelina Vega.
Yeah, look, I mean, everybody was waiting for this with bated breath, especially if you're Brave fans and Wyatt Six fans, and they all kind of assumed that they would appear on the same night. Well. Jeff and Chris talked about that little billboardy thing that had Alexa Bliss's name kind of mixed in there and stuff. Well, Alexa has arrived first. Now, it doesn't really look like there's good morning.
I'm just Bliss, too old school. I remember that show, Conrad. I remember that.
Yeah, that's very old school.
So, Joe, you want to see what he looked like in Lucha Underground?
Sure, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna pull this.
We'll go back to Jeff Cobb for a bit.
Yeah, because like Conrad said, up any horror fans' alley. So I gotta show you this, Joe, just so you can see what he's talking about.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I dig that. That's a hockey mask type thing that he's got going on there. Yeah, okay, I love that. Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I'll have to watch that for sure. That's sick, man. That's awesome. I'll have to check that out. But yeah, so we got Alexa back. I know people were a little disappointed because, they kind of expected the Wide Six to return with her. But obviously she's working her way into the women's division, and, teaming up with Zelina was a little strange, but it's kind of looking like she's, I don't know. I wouldn't trust her at all if I were any of the women. She's looking like she wants to become friends with Charlotte, but it's she's gonna snake somebody. You just know that she is. She's gonna go after somebody here. I almost kind of expected her to snake Selena too, but it looks right now that she's kind of out for herself. But we'll see if maybe the rumors are true and that Alexa is going to lead that group. And if it is, maybe they end up coming out to help her at some point in a match. So maybe she comes out, she starts doing some things on her own, right? We kind of saw that with Bo, right? We kind of saw that with him, was kind of doing some things on his own, and the group kind of backed him up. So maybe that's the way that they're going to start out with this. So I don't know exactly what's going to go on with Bo, and maybe they'll have a confrontation at some point. I don't know. But I'm sure they'll be back soon. So just kind of be patient. I know people are saying, oh my God, it's been like 6, 7, 8 months. What is going on?
We get it.
Yeah, we do. We do. Trust me. Jeff and Chris, of course, as well. But yeah, I think that this is going to lead to something. Maybe they're building towards SummerSlam with it. I don't know. But look, Alexa's back, and I know a lot of people are happy about
it. Yeah. And Joe, I got to mention this though. I think the fact that I don't think she's trying to befriend Charlotte. I get more of a sense of she's trying to have Charlotte revel in what she is.
Oh, okay. Ooh, okay.
Just a little observation there.
Okay.
That's the sense that I got.
So almost like, Jeff, she's recruiting. Oh,
either recruiting or trying to get her to understand that she is wearing a mask.
Okay. Okay. That's kind of cool, actually. Could you imagine, like, if she would kind of get her own little band going? And in a very similar way that Howdy did. Oh, I would like that. I think that would be neat. I would dig that. Okay. That's a cool thought. Very, very cool thought. Hope we get to see Wide Six again. Chris, we will. I'm sure we will. We don't know how severe Bo's injury was. They never really let it be known. And if he tore a shoulder or separated a shoulder, that's a long recovery for a wrestler. So yeah, well, I'm sure we will. But yeah, cool. I look, I know a lot of people are glad she's back, and we'll get to see her more often. She's on SmackDown, and SmackDown's going to a shorter show pretty soon. So yeah, that'll be cool that she's back and we get to see her again. So yeah, excited about that.
I'm gonna be honest about that too when we get to the topic of what we're gonna talk about with WWE.
Okay.
SmackDown going back to a shorter show.
Yep.
I'll just say it's needed.
I agree. Yeah.
So next up, this matchup, which is coming up on Sunday, and we'll talk about it. This matchup has my interest, and that's Trick Williams and Joe Hendry. Simply ask Joe, is Trick going to beat Joe?
This has got to be the biggest threat, I think, to his title that we've seen yet. And we've seen some good ones, but this is one, and I said this before, I'm a little nervous about this one too, because you just, like, right now with what's going on with these two companies, you just don't know. And, I've said it before. I think there's going to come a time when one of these people on either show is going to lose a title to the other show. And I don't know, this might be it. Joe's recovering from that shoulder injury. Maybe he needs a little time off to do that all the way. I don't think this will be the time he loses it for the rest of the year, though. If he does lose it, I think he'll get it back, and we'll maybe have a series between the two. So maybe Trick won't hold it for very long, but and maybe they'll have an NXT pay-per-view then that the two of them will have a rematch, and then maybe Joe will get it back. But I would say that this stands a pretty good shot, Jeff, at Joe losing his title. I think this is probably the biggest threat to Joe's title here that we've had, and it would not surprise me if Joe loses the match. If Joe loses that title in this match, wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either. And something else that wouldn't surprise me is if next year in 2026, we're talking about Joe Hendry and Trick Williams on either Raw or SmackDown.
Yeah. Yep.
I think this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think Trick is probably the most legitimate threat, and that's saying a lot because Joe has had some legitimate threats up to this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can see this going either way, and I think that's a good thing. And I think it will. If Trick does end up winning it, think of what that does for Trick's brand.
Yeah.
Once they move him to the main roster.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Trick is on such a high right now with his heel character, and I'd be very curious to see how Trick would rebound from this if he lost and gained that heat back. Good point. Man, what a promo between Joe and Trick when Joe said, "You have no roads to the NXT Championship, and when I beat you, the TNA title goes away too." Awesome. If he loses it, needs time off. I see Santana taking. Yeah, a couple of you have said Mike Santana.
Yeah,
gotta give a lot of respect to Mike Santana because he's a guy. We keep saying Moose, but Mike Santana is a guy that could very well be the next man up. He could be the next title holder in that company. He's had some amazing matches and some really good feuds, so I could certainly see them hanging their hat on Mike Santana at some point. So yeah, no doubt. But this is gonna be good, and I've got later on we're gonna preview Under Siege. TNA Under Siege. So we've got it coming up very soon.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna go to a less upbeat topic. We're gonna talk. We mentioned Jim Ross before, but prayers and thoughts going to Jim Ross and his family after he revealed a colon cancer diagnosis, Joe.
Yeah. Whenever we hear anything like this, it's very sad. And we've known, JR has had a lot of problems through his life with health issues and things like that. And, again, it's one of those things where we know these people so well and not just the wrestlers, but look, the announcers as well. We've grown up with them. We've heard their voices. Their voices are what narrates the films for us. And they're just as important as the wrestlers are. And JR is a legend. He is a legend to this business. And to hear that they get this, like when we knew that Jerry the King Lawler dropped over and we weren't sure what was going to happen with him. But yeah, all you could say is, hopefully he was diagnosed in time where they can do things for him. I know that the one thing about that cancer is when you're older, it doesn't spread as quickly because my grandfather had it. So I do know a little bit about it. So hopefully he can get some treatments and stuff like that. And yeah, just keep him obviously in your family, in your thoughts and prayers because, he is just a legend of this business. Somebody we heard talking throughout all those years. I can remember him playing the Oklahoma theme song when he would come down and walk out in WrestleManias and all that kind of stuff. And the work that he's done in AEW and continued his career. And so, we're all just hoping and praying and yeah, just keep him in your thoughts and prayers. That's really all you can do. And just hope that he's able to, to get past this and we hear just good things about it. So, yeah.
yeah, definitely. Saying thoughts and prayers for Jr. He's had a lot of health battles, like you said. Just praying that he recovers, praying that they caught this in time so they can give him some treatments to get things back in order. So yeah, um, definitely one of the voices of my youth, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
hopefully he makes a speedy recovery.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right, so we'll end the news with MJF and the Hurt Syndicate. As you can see back there, I was fully anticipating Shelton Benjamin to just snake him.
He looks
Yeah,
like he's going to, doesn't he?
yeah,
Yeah. Like, look at his face.
yeah. Brandon, I saw that right before we came on. Yeah, definitely. Listen, that stuff, and I'm gonna say this, and maybe this is the start of a grievance, but if you can't be human being enough to wish someone well when they've been diagnosed with such a horrific and awful disease such as cancer, if you can't put your politics aside to pray for someone and offer well wishes to them, then you're a part of the problem in our society.
Yeah.
Um, Brandon, I saw that before we came on, and I want to say the same. Thoughts and prayers for Joe Biden, for President Joe Biden and his family.
Yeah. Yep.
Apparently, he found out on Friday that he has prostate cancer, and according to reports, it's an aggressive form of it. Um, and listen, he's in his 80s. Um, that's tough, but I'm praying that he makes a recovery as well.
Yeah.
Um, but I just had to say, like, if you can't be decent enough to put aside political disagreements and ideology to be a decent human being, then yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, you got to think of it. My grandfather on my mom's side passed away from prostate cancer, and he got it in an advanced stage too. But it's still, yeah. Look, just be human. Just be human. And I know a lot of you that listen to our show are, you and I like to think you got some of that from us. But just be human, man. Who when it comes right down to it, we are human, and we gotta we to keep going in this world. We've got to have heart. We got to have feelings, and not just think with our, like Jeff was saying. You can believe what you want to believe, and back what you want to back, and that's your right. But when it comes to someone getting diagnosed with a cancer thing, my dad died from cancer. I mean, it's a horrible thing, and the families and stuff are suffering, and that person is suffering as well. So you just gotta think to yourself that you're human. And I know, just some people just forget that, and those people that just spout off on X about stuff like this are just disgusting.
yep,
And it really it makes me ashamed, of people that can act that way. So yeah,
yep,
it's just sad.
yep. But yeah, back. So Joe with MJF,
Yep.
he still has to sign a contract.
Oh, okay.
So that's not done just yet. But I mean, it was just funny to see him with them because, like I said, they've been kind of teasing this for a while now. He keeps getting under Bob. He calls Bobby Lashley Bob, which is hilarious. But he keeps getting under Bob's skin, and like I said, I thought for sure, like I was just waiting on Shelton Benjamin just to
Yep.
like super kick him, or yeah, then they chant the "We Hurt People" and stuff. It's cool. Um, but yeah, this was I enjoyed this moment. I was glad I got to see this. Again, Conrad saying no clue where this is going. Me either. I have no clue where this is going. I have a feeling though that somebody's going to end up getting snaked, and
Oh
that's going to
yeah.
end up bad. So,
Yep.
but yeah, this I'm gonna say this. Take it for what you want to take it for. To be honest with you, this this keeps me into AEW right now. I look forward to what they do with this storyline. This is something that has my interest. So I see Cedric joining to Conrad at some point soon.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? It's like I said. Look, it's good. It's good for wrestling. It's fun when you get good storylines happening that you need to tune into every single week. That's what helps pro wrestling. And that's I had said that. Jeff and I talked about that, and Jeff mentioned this a long time ago on our show, saying that now that Bobby and they're in there, that's something that he would be interested in seeing. And so yeah, look, it's great. It's great for wrestling, and that's why storylines are so important. When you get that right thing going, makes people tune in, and we want wrestling to succeed. We've said that. We're not, and Jeff's going to get into this in his grievance. We're not the people that are out there being tribalistic and cheering and rooting for one company. We want the companies to succeed because they give people jobs. We got to remember that. Because if a company fails, like so many people, in these tribalistic arguments want to happen, look at, we just got a bunch of people that lost their jobs. Do we want to see that with a big group of 60 people or 70 people that are in a company because the company folds? Come on, man, you can't want to see that. That's just being human. And it's not good. We saw a wrestling monopoly, and guess what? It wasn't great. It wasn't great. We harken back to those horrible Raws that we were doing watch-alongs for, and it was not good. So this is good stuff, and you've got MJF, who's an amazing personality and one of the
This is
best.
what I felt. This is what I felt like when we were watching some of those Raw.
Oh my God, it was so bad, dude. We were falling asleep. Like, it was, I would be looking at Jeff and I'd say, you see, and my eyes are closed. It was bad. So yeah, this is good. And we don't, I know we don't cover a lot of AEW. That's what's Conrad does a great job with it. So obviously you guys that are AEW fans, make sure you check out Conrad's show and go check and check out his stuff. Very good with it. But this is why we want to see everybody succeed. We do, because that's what's best for the business. Giving people options that may not have had them, right? Josh Alexander, Speedball Mike Bailey, two of the people we covered in TNA, talked to personally on our show. We want them to do well. Deonna Purrazzo, Tyra Valkyrie. We're rooting for them. We were fans of them on TNA. We want them to do well. So that's what it is. And yeah, so that's a little segue into our grievances. But
Yep.
but yeah, this I'm now I have to tune in, and I haven't been watching. I have to tune in now, because now I want to see what happens with this. I don't want a monopoly, no matter who, even Tony Khan, Triple H, Bill Watson, Noki. Yeah, no, yeah, we don't need that. Yeah, we don't need that stuff. So that's why I didn't like the AAA news, but I loved MLP starting up. Speaking of Deonna, where is he? She? Yeah, I don't know, Conrad. Yeah, that's a good question. I wish I knew. I wish I knew. Yeah, I miss Deonna. Deonna's an amazing athlete. So, all right, Jeff, good stuff. Any further thoughts on this, and then we will get into those grievances that I hyped up.
I just want to rip off the Band-Aid and get into the grievances.
All right, let's do it. Jeff's got a good
All right.
one for you guys. I don't have one this week, so this is all Jeff's. But yeah, let's go. Let's get Jerry Stiller making his speech. Here we go.
There we go.
The airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now you're gonna hear about it.
Love it.
All right. So, I think over the last little bit, over the last, well, I'll just say since we've been doing this show and on this channel, um, tribalism in wrestling has reached an all-time high. Tribalism in general in society, whether it's wrestling, politics, movies, music, you name it, it's at an all-time high. And I was trying to think, like, is it all on the fans? Like, is it all the fans' fault? And I've been thinking about that for a little bit, and then I saw a couple tweets, and I saw a couple quotes, and went and listened to some clips and different things, and it's not all the fans, Joe and chat. Um, and before you think that I'm just coming down on AEW, because I'm sure that's where people will think I'm going. I have no problem with Will Ospreay saying that he feels like their roster is better than WWE's. That he feels like, the top guys are just as good in AEW as they are in WWE. That's not a problem. Because what is he supposed to say? What is he going to say? Like, nah, man, they're way better than us. No. If you ask, and Joe, I don't want to bring up a sore subject, but if you had gone into the locker room of the Boston Celtics after Jason Tatum's unfortunate injury, Derek, I'm getting there. If you had gone into their locker room, no one was going to say the Knicks are better than us. They're going to kick our behinds because we don't have Jason Tatum.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the game after they lost Jason Tatum, they took it to the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't expect that. However, at some point, I would just like it if I could look at Ricochet's social media and not see references to WWE. Like now, I get so tired of the wrestlers themselves, of journalists. Notice what I'm doing. Of so many people continuing to make it about one company versus another. Now, I'm not going to get savage and I'm not going to say what I could say in terms of why people shouldn't be worried about other companies right now. I'm not going to do that. All I'm going to say is let's focus on our own companies. Let's focus on our own product. Let's focus on our own success as opposed to constantly feeling the need, whether it's a WWE person or an AEW person, taking shots across the bow. It gets old. It really gets old. And I'm kind of sick of it. Like, I mean, we can't, Joe, we can't talk about fans being tribalistic and pushing narratives and all these other things, and we can't call out this kind of crap. I get so sick of seeing this type of like it's always directed to the fans, but we never say, you know what, wrestlers, y'all need to shut up to, or you know what, executives, you need to shut up to. And Conrad, I'll say this for TK, I'm glad someone took his Twitter away. I'm glad it seems like someone took his phone away. And his need to feel like he needs to be front man, because that was getting old too. I just feel like at some point we all just need to be real and say that a lot of times fans take cues from the companies they support the most. If you don't like it, sorry, but I feel like it needs to be said. Don't fall into that bull crap. Let people like what they like. Journalists, stop asking AEW wrestlers about stuff with WWE and vice versa, because you're just being messy and you're just trying to create a sound bite or a quote or something that's going to help you go viral. I get it. You're trying to get your stuff seen, but some people have proven that they just haven't they don't understand the the power that comes with what they do. And the last thing I'm gonna say is about Ricochet. And I want to like Ricochet. I do. I really do. However, there's playing a character, and then there's what Ricochet's doing. I feel this is just my opinion. We don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree. The Ricochet stuff kind of it, he for me it gives me the impression of extra. I don't need you to be extra. I just need to be good at what it is that you're trying to do. But then you go over the top. Stop. Like you don't need to do all of that. Like I get it. You want to be talked about. You want to be trending. You want all this stuff. But dude, it's like let's slow down. Pump the brakes. There's a lot more that I want to say. I want to be a lot meaner, and I want to say some stuff that I feel like would rile people up. But I do not have the patience nor the tolerance, nor am I in the mood to tolerate some of that tonight. So I'm gonna leave it there. But all I will say is, fans, don't feel like you have to justify everything that a company does just because you really like that company. Like just don't feel like you need to, that you gotta be like, oh, this is great. That's fine. No, like if it's bull crap, call it out. If you don't agree with it, call it out. You don't have to be a jerk about it, but call it out. Because what I get really sick of is that when people that like to call it down the middle, when we do that, we're called e-drums or WWE shields. Let me say something here real quick. WWE has never given us a single red cent. Period. Nor has TNA, nor has AEW. If we don't like something, we're going to call it out.
Mhm.
And if you, as a wrestling fan, can't handle your favorite company being called out, whether that's AEW, WWE, TNA, You need to then look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself a very simple question. Very simple. And then I'm done after this. Does that company pay my bills? If they do, my apologies, be frustrated, get upset about it. If they don't, maybe you should not, go as hard in paint and get so offended when people have a legitimate criticism of something that you like. But all right, I'm done. Because I don't want to go where I'm about to go.
I just want to add a couple things, and I'm gonna kind of mess this in a little bit with like things I've been seeing on YouTube. A lot of it, I think, to blame too is content creators. I really do. I've watched, and I'm not going to say I watch a lot of wrestling content creators because I really don't. I try to stay away from it. But I watch some stuff now where I watch people that review movies and do like a lot of, I'm a big Marvel fan. So I'll watch like channels that do, rumors, like Marvel rumors and Marvel movie reviews and things like that. And while some of them are really good and they kind of call it like they see it and call it down the middle, and they say whether they think it's good or think it's bad, but then you also have some of these that are out there that every single time I put on their channel, they are bashing shit. Like it doesn't matter what it is. They are just coming out. And then I kind of like groan when and yet I still watch this person, and I don't even know why I watch him anymore because this is all he does. And it's so clear to me that he's doing this for clicks. It is so clear that he's doing it for attention. He can't even hide it anymore. And this dude, he talks about like DC and Marvel mostly, some Star Wars and stuff, but like all these big time movies that come out. And every single time, like I never see him say a good thing about anybody. And I always say that. And Conrad, you just said it. Negativity sells and it sucks. I hate that. I really hate that about YouTube. And again, I'm just different. Jeff is different. We couldn't go there. Okay. We could have done it because it was so popular even 6 years ago when we started doing this. There is a dude who used to come on our show, and I'm not even going to mention his name. He went completely off the rails, used to do stuff about NWA.
Okay. Yeah.
He went completely off the rails, joined the political movement, and completely went like south of just going like, and it was all for clicks and money. And it's like, come on, dude, like but that's what it is. And then people don't understand the influence that they have. Just as even if you're a small creator to some of these large ones, and the guy that I'm talking about that does the movie reviews, he's on like every single day, he does a video every day. So I'm sure he's probably only content creating. He probably doesn't have a job. And he probably is doing this content creating every single day. And he can't find a damn good thing to say about anything. And yet people love this and they get fired up and they go on and they comment and he gets a ton of money from them because he's being negative. And it's like, dude, we don't need this. The entertainment should not be a negative thing because it's simple as this. If you don't like it, don't watch it. It's that simple. I say that all the time. People act as if they're sitting in a chair strapped to a seat with belts on them like an electric chair, and they're sitting there being forced to watch something. You're not. You don't have to buy a ticket to a movie if you think it sucks or if you're not interested in it. Just don't watch. I watch shit that I think I'm gonna like. I mean, I just watched a movie called Strange Darling the other day, and I read about it, and I was curious about the plot. It's not maybe necessarily something I would have picked out to watch, but I watched it because I thought I'd like it, and I did. Nobody is forced to watch anything, but don't be a drone. Don't sit there and listen to someone spout off negativity when they clearly are doing it because they want to make money from you. It's the only reason that they're doing it. These same people in their lives probably go to these movies that they spout off and say that they're going to suck, and they probably love them. But they won't come on their show and say that because they're not being truthful with you. Don't get sucked into that stuff. It is so easy to tell when these people are lying. It is so easy to tell. They are so see-through. And it's disgusting to me that they take advantage. And look, a lot of it, I get it, is young kids and kids who are maybe not old enough to tell. You know, a lot of these guys that do movie stuff get young kids watching because they're fans of superheroes and they're fans of Star Wars, and and they just watch this stuff and then they corrupt them. And then they turn them into these tribalistic people that just go on and say, and they just, what was it? The Thunderbolts movie, which I went to see, and I thought it was excellent. I loved it. Okay. I went to see it. They review bombed the shit out of it because you know why? Because it was a woman-centric Marvel film. Oh, it's another woman's movie. Oh, it's another Marvel women's movie. It's all about the women. Jesus Christ. Is the movie good? Who the hell cares if it's a female or male character? I just want a good film. I don't care. I really don't. But this is the kind of society that we live in now. And to relate it to wrestling, this is what some of those people do. And my God, we knew people like this when we first started doing our show. And those of you who know when we started our show probably know who I'm talking about. And I don't care. So
no words, just
yeah. I don't even care because I'm old and I could say shit and no one cares. But this is that's how it is. And it's very sad that our society has come into this. It really is. It's entertainment. And I say this all the time. If it doesn't entertain you, you have choices. Mm-hmm. That's what's good about having different companies in wrestling. You have choices. We have people in our chat who watch GCW and always comment about GCW. And that's good. There's choices. So if you don't like what someone's doing, then my God, turn it off. Don't get upset. Go ahead.
Joe,
yeah.
Can I just add to that? There are certain people that come on my screen when we have a wrestling show on. And I'm not even going to lie to you. Certain people come on my screen, I turn the channel.
Yeah.
I don't go and say they're terrible people or knock them down. I just turn the channel because I'm not watching that. That I don't really. That's not for me. So okay, cool. I'll come back in 10 minutes. If you're still on there, I can turn the channel again.
Yep.
Or there's this device that I have that I can scroll and look at reels until you shut up.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, let people watch what they want to watch. You don't have to crap all over stuff. And for God's sakes, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like there's one of these weeks, Joe. One of these weeks, I'm gonna have the courage. To equate our current wrestling climate to our current political one.
Oh, yeah.
And I have written out what I want to say. I just don't want to say it because I know what's going to happen as soon as I say it. There are going to be some people like, "Oh, that's bull crap," and other people are going to be like, "That's spot on. I never thought about it that way. That makes a ton of sense." That week won't be this week though, but I am going to share it at some point because the more and more I go on, like you said, Joe, we're old. We can say stuff.
Yes, we can. We've earned that right.
We've earned that right. So yeah.
Well, stay tuned. There you go.
It will happen.
There you go. But yeah, seriously, guys, just the last thing I'll just say here is just make up your own mind. Entertainment should be exactly that. It should make you happy. It should put a smile on your face. I started watching a show with my wife on YouTube, Rhett and Link on YouTube. They do foods like food videos and stuff like that. It's a funny little show that you just watch, and they do food reviews and food rankings and stuff. And I enjoy it because it makes me laugh. And that's really what entertainment should be. And if it is grinding your gears and if it's making you mad, then dear God, shut it off. Find something else to do with your life, or watch something else. There's so much out there. But do what you enjoy, man. It's going to make you a happier person. And for God's sake, don't fall into the trap of watching these people on YouTube that do nothing but be negative on everything that they do. They are so transparent and so see-through that all they want is your clicks and your money. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. So good stuff, Jeff. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, we're gonna. I want to say more, but I'm not going to.
Save it for the
I'm gonna save it.
We'll have to do an extra special episode.
Because what I have to say. Oh my God! What I have to say is, I think it's so on the nose, Joe, that when people realize if they fall on one side, if they realize that that's what they're doing, they're going to be so pissed off. They're not at themselves. They're going to be mad at me for pointing it out because now they can't unsee it. Like, man, he messed up my whole vibe. But
maybe we'll record that as a side show.
Yes, we should.
And then just stick it out there and let people watch it. Maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that and we'll stick it out there. The special edition of the Grievances, and we'll throw that out there. So yeah.
You know what? I might even open that up to a round table. Let's do a round table recording.
We can invite people in.
Yeah, let's do it like one of those political debate shows.
We haven't done that in a while.
Where they get, a couple people on either side and debate the topic. Because I feel like this is a topic that might piss enough people off to get them to say some stuff.
They used to do that Sunday show, Jeff, on ESPN, old time, the sports reporters. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh,
when they would have those guys on the panel and they debate shit back and forth. Yeah, that was fun.
I love that show.
Yeah, me too.
All right, man. Well, let's go from one controversy to the next. You ready to get into sell or no sell?
Yeah, let's go. We're going into sell or no sell, guys. You know how this works. We will do a segment, and then we'll do the viewer's choice. So we'll pick one, we'll do ours, and then we'll do viewer's choice. So we're going to need you all to vote, and we'll put in the spin. We'll make the spinner. We need a lot of you to contribute, and then we'll pick one. So Around the Horn was good too. I love that show.
Yes,
well. Yeah.
Around the Horn, and that's I think they just recently ended that show.
They did. Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great show. I used to love that show.
Yeah.
All right, Joe.
All right. So we're gonna get into our topics.
So what we're gonna do tonight, folks, is we're only gonna have two topics. The first one is this one, and then the second one will be yours. So go ahead and start getting your sell or no sell questions ready to go. But the first one up is WWE has had a lull since WrestleMania. Joe, sell or no sell?
You know, I was on the side of yes to this. However, I'm seeing I'm starting to see, in fact, I think I mentioned it on the last show that we did, whether or not, the Triple H era has lost its luster. And I would kind of say that they could have really sunk, crashed, and kind of burned, because WrestleMania did not live up to the prior one, to me. It was good. It was fun and many good matches, but it wasn't. It just and I knew it. I knew it going into it that it wasn't going to live up because so much happened in that WrestleMania prior with the Cody stuff and everything else that I knew nothing they were going to do was going to live up to it. Now I'm starting to turn a little bit because now I'm kind of seeing direction where they're going. Money in the Bank's coming at a great time. I'll say that, okay? Because that's going to, I think, reset everything. Now, where I see, though, a lull here, I don't think they know where they're going a little bit with the John Cena thing. And that's a problem because no matter how you try to sell him as this heel character, see, to me, I'm thinking that this is come and gone. And I'm thinking that this probably should have happened a while back when he wanted to really do it, which it probably would have come off as a bigger shock to people. And I'm not seeing it selling to the crowd. And I'm not seeing, and it's not even selling to me. So my answer to this is yes. I'm gonna sell it. They have had a lull, and I think it doesn't go any further than the John Cena stuff. I think people were thinking that that it was logically going to go back into with the Rock stuff, which it did not do. That where it was going to go, it was going to get, and then of course Cody taking his time off. So there is no real follow up to it. Now you're getting them, and it's almost like people are kind of saying, and I don't mind the R-Truth thing. I like R-Truth, but a lot of people are saying it's a reach, and so I think they may have backed themselves. And this is not the first time that WWE has done this. They backed themselves into a corner, and I don't think they know I don't think they necessarily know the direction of how they're going to get out of it. But if they really want to make it easy on themselves, have CM Punk win Money in the Bank. It's that simple. And so that's why I said it's a good time. It's coming at a good time. But I do think there is a lull in WWE. Yes, I will sell this. So
There you go. All right. I'm gonna be honest. It's a sell for me. For me, I hate to make this about one person, but I'm going to. To me, The Rock not being at WrestleMania after this whole I want your soul, I want this, and then basically nothing.
Yeah,
and
no
follow up. And with Cena, the problem with doing what you're doing with Cena now is that nobody's going to truthfully hate him.
Yeah. Yep, that's true.
And you're seeing that. You've seen that on the SmackDown before WrestleMania. You saw John Cena getting cheered, and Cody, your babyface champion of over a year, getting booed.
Yep.
That tells you everything you need to know about Cena.
Yep.
So yeah, for me, it has had a lull. I will be so happy, not only for me as a fan, but for WWE, for SmackDown to go back to 2 hours.
That too, yeah. Yeah.
And because there are weeks, and I will say that this past one wasn't as bad. This past one was not bad. But there have been some weeks where I've been like, okay, this show needs to be 2 hours again. Bad.
Agreed.
Like real bad.
Yeah.
Because the way that the roster is structured at the moment, all of your heavy hitters, all of the heavy storylines are on Raw.
Yeah.
They're on Netflix. And listen, you can understand why. Because Netflix gave you the bag. So you got to do certain things for Netflix that you may not have to do for USA.
Yep.
Get it. That's cool. But there needs to be more parity on SmackDown. There needs to be a little bit more variety. And right now, with where it is and where the rosters are, I SmackDown is tough to get through
Yep.
some weeks. So um, I would just say that yeah, it has been a lull. I think for me, the high point was the Raw after WrestleMania. I felt like that was really, really good. There have been some good spots. There have been some good moments. But overall, yeah, they've hit a little bit of a lull for me. And I think maybe it has something to do with Cena. Maybe it's trying to really reshuffle the deck and figure out, okay, what are we doing going forward with everyone? Because it's not enough to think about Cena's run being done at the end of this year, but you have to be in the mindset of thinking, okay, well, what are we doing at the Rumble in 2026? Who are we going to position for a push? How are we going to position new acquisitions? How are we going to position, veterans like Charlotte Flair, like Bayley? How are we going to position certain people? Because I feel like they have to answer those questions too. So
Jeff,
yeah, for
even
me,
even even Becky, like, what are they
yeah,
doing
Becky,
with Becky Lynch? Like, I like, and then you got the Tiffany running it back with Nia Jax, which is
yeah.
boring to me. Like,
I
yeah,
thought
like,
that I will say this though. Although I was like, why on Tiffany and Nia, I felt like it was a good match.
oh, it was. Yeah, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. Yeah, no, it was a good match. I just didn't understand, like, why so soon? When
Hmm.
you have other people that can be coming in and challenging her, why so soon with it?
And why
Yeah,
there?
yeah, yeah, yep, yep.
Derek, it's all good, man. I know Derek. Me and Derek talk a lot, and he said, "Look, I'm burnt out on wrestling right now, and not just with WWE, but with every single company." Um, so I get it. I I'll be honest with you. I'm burnt out on some wrestling right now. I'm not burnt out on everything, but I'm burnt out on some wrestling. And I think for me, I'm more burnt out on the discourse. I've been saying that for 5 years, but I'm just more burnt out on that more so than anything. Because no company has it all figured out. No company is perfect, and they all screw up sometimes, and they speak out of both sides of their mouth. So, um, but that's what I'm more frustrated with right now. But being completely honest, and I never thought I'd get here. If The Rock does not come back into that storyline the rest of the year, I'm okay.
Yeah, now it's past the point.
It's past the point for me anyway. Like if you're a fan and you're cool, hey, that's fine. But for me, and then hearing his BS excuse on Pat McAfee show
Oh God, yeah.
and whatever that was, yeah, I'm all set on that. And I love The Rock, but he kind of between him saying that and Triple H saying some of the stuff that he said about the fans recently, I'm just like, okay, y'all are starting to piss me off a little bit. And yeah, I'm just I want them to get past this lull.
Yep.
I want AEW to continue to improve. I want TNA to be able to keep talent on their roster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and do some more compelling things. I just want more um, out of the companies that I watch, and I don't think it's too much to ask for things to make sense. I don't think it's too much to ask for people to not be jerks. And no, Rock didn't book WrestleMania 41, but he definitely didn't show up to it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and from the sounds of it, it sounded like that was in his control and he could have done something about it. But he felt like it wasn't the right time and all these
Yeah,
other things.
that's
And it's like, listen, dude, like, okay, I get it. You're the Rock, you're the man. You've gone from, a wrestling icon to entertainment icon.
yeah.
But like, dude, pay it off or just don't get
Hey,
it.
wait a minute, Jeff. I know what's going to save wrestling. Goldberg's final match. Let's go.
When is that, by the way? And
I
is
don't
it
even know. They keep promoting it. They keep saying it's going to be against Gunther. I have no idea, but maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need a Goldberg reappearance. Yeah, no, everything you said is right. And look, like Jeff said, he pointed out some faults with not just one company, but all of them. Right? It just seems like they're not. I don't know. It just seems like they're not trying their best. Like they're not pushing their hardest. Some of the things are, but some of the things aren't. And I don't know. Are they getting are they settling in? Are they getting like when you ate like way too much pizza and you're kind of like happy, but you get that like too full feeling, like you're stuffed. Like I don't know. I don't know what it is. But like Jeff said, that there's faults across the board, and I don't think they're beyond fixing, but I just think that they need to do that. I think they need to focus on trying to cut back on the mistakes, and it's not technical mistakes; it's just ideas and storyline mistakes and things like that. That I think they need to switch up and clean up. And then, they have some people that just don't show up anymore. Like Roman's a part-timer. He's going to show up maybe 3-4 times a year. And that's his choice. If he wants to do that, that's what he wants to do, but they've got to overcome that kind of stuff. So yeah, I agree. It has been, and I'll even admit, it has been hard sometimes for me to pay attention to a full show of wrestling. I would sit there and make sure to watch everything. Now I kind of sit there, I have my phone there, and I'm kind of messing around with my phone. I'm half paying attention to things and stuff like that. And yeah, but yeah, I really want to start to see getting. Oh yeah, well the prices we don't even want to talk about the WWE. It's ridiculous. Yeah, you can't even. Families can't even attend an event. Which is ridiculous.
Like when you have to take out a loan to go to a WWE event.
That's outrageous. Yeah. Outrageous. Yeah. And I get it. Inflation's bad and prices are bad, but yeah, that's a way when you're pricing people out, other than people who are like millionaires and have like tons and tons of money. That's you're thinking of the wrong group. You're thinking of the wrong people because most of those people aren't wrestling fans. So,
and what I'm going to say is this, and Chris Wilhelm just brought it up, but WWE tomorrow could make an announcement in light of all of this economic uncertainty going on in our country right now and across the world. They could make an announcement that for the remainder of the year, they're going to cut prices, even if they wanted to go wild and say, we're going to cut all prices by 50%, they'd still be making a boatload of profit that they're going to tell us about at the end of the fiscal year anyway. So they have no problem telling us about their profits. So again, to that point, and I'm not trying to be negative and bring it down, but wrestling has always been about the people and for the people. It's about the entertainment, right? If you're putting people in economic distress, and they're not going to tell you that they are, they just got to get those tickets because they got to see a WWE event. But if you're putting people in economic distress, I mean, are you really entertaining the people, and at what cost? Quite literally, at what
They're
cost?
not going to enjoy the show as much, Jeff, because they're going to
No.
go there, have to stretch their pockets for all of that stuff that they're paying out. And it's almost like, you may have to take a loan to go to a show. And then, is the show going to be that entertaining to you to want to spend that money
Right.
and get nothing but memories?
Right.
And if the show isn't great, well, then you just threw money away. It's like burning money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And listen, if you can afford to go to the shows, more power to you. I'm just speaking for the folks like myself who, in order for me to go to a WWE show at this point, it's going to take some serious planning. And I'm not talking about, oh, let me plan for a couple weeks, let me save
Yeah.
a couple weeks and then I'll be good to go. No, like this is going to take me a couple months. I got to plan out which show am I going to. I know I can't sit where I really want to sit. So what's the next acceptable option? And then go from there because man, it's expensive. Like I wanted to take my kids to WrestleMania in Philly.
Oh God, yeah. No, I looked into that too. There was no way.
There was no way.
And the
There's no
seats,
way.
Jeff, were $1,000 for seats that are up that I could have gotten a way better view watching on TV.
Nosebleeds.
Yep.
When I can sit my behind on my couch that already has my butt imprint in it. I don't have to
Yep.
wiggle into a seat or say excuse me to 12,000 drunk people who are being rude.
Yep.
And I can mute something. I can go to the bathroom without an inconvenience.
Yep.
Yeah. And I don't have to pay $17 for a hot dog. And
Yep. You can order a pizza that'll cost you less than it would cost you for the food that you're ordering there, and it'll be better anyway.
Yeah. So,
Yep.
all right.
Agreed.
All right, folks.
All right, guys. We
Get
had
your
another rant.
topics in now.
Yeah, let's get the topics from you guys. I think we had one.
Yeah, we had one, but we want.
Yeah, let's.
I've got two. I've got two left over from the last time.
Okay, so we have what, 3?
We need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We need 6.
All right, come on. We need 6 topics, guys. Let's go. Rosemary will not get to Zaya Brookside and facing a 2-on-1 against Zaya and Lei Ying Lee. Oh, no, these are all separate. Wait, hold on. Scooby-Doo's Velma Dinkley is low-key hot. Are you talking about the woman that plays her in the movies? You know, she is playing Jason Voorhees' mom in the upcoming Crystal Lake series. And I am not joking. That is absolutely true.
I can't wait because I love her.
Yep. That's hold on. I gotta get her name now because that is hold on, I'm gonna look her up. Cardellini.
Mm-hmm.
Linda Cardellini.
Yep.
I think it's she's playing Jason Voorhees' mom. So I'm fired up for that. So but I may agree with you there. Rosemary will not get to Zaya Brookside and facing a 2-on-1 against Zaya and Lei Ying Lee. You also think the bunny's going to arrive in AEW? I like that one.
I like that too.
Okay.
You know what, Joe? If the wheel doesn't land on Andrews, we're doing that one the next time because I think that is a great idea for wrestling.
WWE would benefit from a wrestling off-season period like the NFL, MLB, and NBA to come back. You know what? Even if, Andrew, it was a month, 1 month that you would have, right? WrestleMania, and then you take a month and you reset. Yeah, that would be they'd never do it. But yeah, I think that's a cool idea. Yep. Triple H often talks about how he is right back to work the very next day when starting over on storylines. Imagine if he got a month to be able to do that instead of going right to the next thing. I know they never would, but I like that. That's a great idea. $176. I get front row. Hang out with the wrestler before and after the show. They all hang out around the ring while I've been jumping to the indies like GCW and Hood Slam. The Rock and Triple H not being on the same page is affecting WWE creative, says Conrad. Did you get that one?
Yeah, I got
Okay.
that one. Need two more, but we can roll with what we got. If we don't get them.
David Paul, I can push back on the idea too because it makes it unique to offer a cable provider 52 weeks of unique content. We need two more, guys. Anybody who has two more. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be long, could be short, whatever it is. What's on your mind? Two more we need.
David, to answer your question, no, I wouldn't do best ofs on TV. I would use those weeks to push talent. I would use those weeks to tell the stories of your talent, to maybe do some video packages with them. If you've got someone that you're trying to really elevate, giving them that opportunity to really tell their story. That's what I would that's how I would use that time if there was an off season. I really hope we land on that one. I've never rooted for a topic, but I hope we land on it.
Does anyone have any more? If not, we'll just go with what we have.
Yeah.
Wait. Do vignettes for the ones oh, okay. No, we're still talking about that. Okay.
All right. So we'll go with what we got.
Okay.
All right, here we go. It better not land on a blank space. It did not. All right, good. This one is The Rock and Triple H not being on the same page is hurting WWE creative, Joe. Sell or no sell?
Yeah, I would sell that. I would sell that. We talked about it. And see, that's the thing. The Rock is in his position that he is. And we got to see the better of that. But now I'm starting to wonder, had the fans not done what they did, would we have seen wrestling history changed? Because the fans stuck up for Cody. If that did not happen and The Rock got his vision, it would have been him and Roman. And Cody would have been God knows where after all that stuff that happened. So I'm starting to think, and I love The Rock, but I'm starting to wonder about what he's got on his mind for WWE. And is it in the best interest of the product, or is it in the best interest of The Rock? So, yeah, look, it's a great point. And no, I don't think they're on the same page. I think Triple H may have another interest. The Rock may has a different one. And I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work out. They need to be on the same page. But now The Rock comes out and says he's Triple H's boss. And that, yeah, I don't know. 100% sell, especially in the top storyline, i.e. Cena. Conrad says, remember The Rock isn't calling WWE. WWE calls The Rock, but I have a conspiracy theory.
Well, my question, Conrad, is this. Do we know that that's the case at this point? Or is Rock pulling some board strings? That would be my question.
Derek thinks Triple H is going to go soon from that position. Who would take over Derek? I mean, we just had all this, right? Who would take over? And so many people have mentioned that, especially during this kind of downtime. I've seen it mentioned a lot. And the name I see the most of is Shawn Michaels. But is Shawn the guy? I mean, are you seeing enough out of NXT to automatically say that Shawn's the guy? Otherwise, who is the choice? Damien says sell. Has The Rock gotten too big for his boots? Rock's always had issues with the Click. I feel like he's never liked Triple H. If you guys remember him from Young Rock, of all the stuff that happened with the Click, I believe that he wants Brian Gerwitz in the spot. My theory for the
That's his guy.
I'm selling, and you might find out why on the next segment. Now that's where it gets interesting. Rock's right-hand man, Brian, exactly who Conrad said, Gerwitz. Sean's gone too. Rock has always had issues with Triple H and Sean.
Mm-hmm. Anyone that was associated with the clique would be done, I would think, if that's the direction that they're going to go.
And isn't Cena on the board?
Is who?
Cena. I'm pretty
Is
sure
he
he
on?
is.
Is he on there now? I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure they said he was, because I remember before all this started that he was going to board meetings as well, and he had the suit jacket on and stuff like that also. So,
Yeah.
would Sean leave a good NXT spot to become the Rock's yes man? I wouldn't. Yeah, no, I wouldn't either.
I think there would be a. I think if that stuff happened, if Triple H is not there, I think there's going to be an overhaul of how they do all of it going forward. I don't think NXT looks the same. I don't think. I just think a lot of things would change.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. For sure. Oh, all right, Ron, I just looked the Cena thing up. It said he's not on the WWE board of directors, nor is he a member of the board of directors of TKO. While Dwayne The Rock Johnson is a member of the board, and Cena has a long-term relationship with WWE, he's not on the board. Okay, so I thought they said he was. Cena has stated that he is signed to WWE for the near, mid, and long-term future, but his role is more as a performer and ambassador than a board member. So he's not. Yeah, he's not. So. All right, well, good stuff, and a great question. Yeah. Rock's going to turn WWE into Black Adam. Let's hope not. But yeah, good question. Good stuff, guys.
So, Joe, that question actually segues beautifully.
Yes, it does actually.
Into our burning question of the week. So, are you ready to tackle that one?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, so here we go. It's getting warm.
It is a little warm in here, getting a little warm. It's chilly outside again, too.
I'm going to make this, we need it. I'm going to make this full screen so folks can see it. And this question came from Brandon.
Okay.
Who I think is still in the chat. So
yep.
Shout out to Brandon for commenting this question under one of our videos. So like we said before, folks, if you watch and you want to be a part of the show, give us a question or a sell or no sell or something.
When Triple H took over creative, WWE seemed to have been riding high. Till the thing with The Rock, Cody, and Cena soul selling thing, beginning from The Rock's return to Cena's heel turn, which I feel has become a major disappointment. I've begun to ask myself this: has The Rock been pulling the strings with this storyline? And if so, my next is: has The Rock become the only thing in that WWE creatively has not divorced from Vince?
I think that's a good question, Brandon.
Very good question. Yeah, very good question. It's kind of almost asking, is The Rock good for WWE? I mean, in a very shortened sentence, is he good for WWE at this point? It's funny because after WrestleMania and Dave LaGreca had his humongous rant, I think what he was trying to allude was something like this in his weird way that he does it. But I think he kind of alluded to this in that rant that he had, where he was screaming and yelling. Is that, is he good for WWE right now? And maybe not. Maybe not. He could be out of touch. He definitely seems like he's out of touch with what the fans want. And so, look, it's a great question. And maybe that's the case. The Rock might be the leftover. Jeff, you remember when they had the whole press conference set up, and, they had people fighting there. And do you remember in backstage, and somebody brought it up in the chat when Rock went up to Triple H and said, "I'm your boss," to Triple H. Pretty demeaning. And I know they could say it was storyline, but was it? I if he's going to board meetings and he's in with the board and he's saying that what his vision is what's best, then where does that leave what Triple H is doing? So it's a great question. I don't know that I have an answer to it, but it does seem like The Rock may be, as LaGreca has said on his show, out of touch with what the fans want in wrestling. And it could very well be.
Yeah. I think that The Rock has an idea of how he thinks things should go. I have a feeling that Triple H thinks the same. I think if we're all being honest, the egos involved with this probably make this a situation that is way more combustible than we're even able to comprehend. Um, I don't know, just based on things I've seen The Rock say and seeing Young Rock and seeing how he talked about his relationship with Triple H. I don't know that they've ever been on the same page.
Yeah.
I know that they worked well together and created some good stories, but I don't know that they've ever been on the same page as in being able to be in a situation like this and coexist and have both men feel like they have contributed to what people are seeing on screen. Um, Having said all of that, though, one of the interesting parts of this question to me is the last part of it. Has The Rock become the only thing in that WWE creatively is not divorced from Vince? I would say no.
Okay.
I would say that I think wrestling has changed so much over the last 20 years for sure, but I would even argue since the pandemic era.
Mm.
I think it's changed a lot. And I think you have to be able to adapt to that. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't know that any wrestling company at this point has truly learned how to adapt to 2025 wrestling fans. What do I mean by that? The attention span of today's wrestling fan is way shorter because of TikTok and Reels and
True.
all this other stuff. The other thing that you have to contend with is I don't have to watch your whole show. I can just watch a clip on YouTube. So why do I need to invest 3 hours of my time when I know that tomorrow you're going to put a full segment up on your YouTube channel? Why do I
Good
need to
point.
watch your full show?
Yeah, it's a good point.
So I think the approach to wrestling has to be different from the companies.
Yeah.
And, I agree. I think that a lot of us were singing the praises of Triple H early on. I still don't think he's doing a bad job. I think right now that they're in a lull because whether we want to admit it or not, they have a ton of talent on that roster that some is being used, but a lot is not. I think they're trying to figure out how to utilize some people a little bit differently. Maybe having Cena and Punk and all these other folks at the top of the card right now is making that difficult. And we haven't even talked about the fact that where is Cody going to land when he gets back?
No idea.
What's Cody doing when he gets back? That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
But I don't think that everything from Vince is gone. And I brought all of that up to say that I feel like a lot of what we're seeing storyline wise is formulaic. I feel like while it's different from Vince's style, I still think his formula is somewhat in place with some of the booking and how certain people are pushed and some of those things. I just want to see different. I'm glad that Vince is gone. I don't want any remnants of Vince around any of the wrestling. So I just think that I think it comes down to figuring out today's fan, and I certainly don't have an answer for it. I just recognize the problem, or I recognize the whatever it is, because when I look at AEW, and I know some people will point to ratings as, well, they're just god awful, and I've heard those things and don't agree with it. I do think that they make some missteps, but that's for a different topic. But what can you do if you're AEW to utilize what tools you have to connect with more fans in a different way? And maybe that brings them to your show. What if you're WWE, how do you showcase the talent that you have and the folks that you don't always have on TV? How do you give them a spotlight on social media? They're not really doing anything with Natalya right now. I saw a video of Natalya on social media that I think she either did or NWA did leading up to her appearance on NWA. WWE has the greatest production in wrestling. We often talk about it. Why aren't they doing things like that? TNA, have a seat at the table. What do I mean by that? Let people know that you're there. Yeah. It's great that you put out match clips and different things, but if people don't know who your talent is, they are not going to care who won a match or what move somebody did in a match clip. Highlight your talent. Have them introduce themselves. Have them cut promos on social media. Just some thoughts out there.
Yeah, no, it's true. It is changing, Jeff. I mean, look, even even content creators, you're seeing it because people don't want to sit through long videos anymore. The people that were doing the watch along stuff many years ago, they're losing viewers like flies right now because people don't want. Look, when you're sitting through, and I pay for ad-free YouTube, it is not cheap. And when you don't want to sit through those constant commercials, it's hard to sit and watch somebody's video. Regardless of where you go, you can go on Twitch and it's the same thing. You get a whole big group of ads. So it is not easy to do. And so people are going to, like Jeff said, the TikTok stuff. They're doing the small stuff where you can just get the highlights. Some people will do a video of what happened on Raw. I've seen videos like that. And they'll just go down and boom, like See Wrestling does his wrestling videos. And he just goes through and just gives you the results. And that's a thing now. People want quick. They don't necessarily want to sit and watch. That's why with Netflix, they've got a little more leeway, because if Netflix doesn't have maybe the best card, they'll cut it off. They'll stop it at 2 hours, or they'll stop it at 2 hours and 10 minutes or something like that. If they have something more important there, they can go later. But yeah, it's, I agree. Things have to be done. They need to, and I'm sure they have social media people in all of these companies. They they need to pay more attention to that, and they need to get with the program and realize what people want to see. They're the people that get paid for that,
Right.
and they need to do that. So,
Right.
yep,
Because I mean, you got to think about it like this too. Right now, this is where we are in society. Think about where kids that are like 5 to, I would even say 12 right now. That's your next generation of wrestling fans.
yep,
If they're not sitting through a match today and all they want to see is who won and a couple of the highlights, the cool moves, what does that mean for you, wrestling company? Fill in the blank, whoever you want to. What does that mean for you in 10 years when that kid is in that 18 to 35 demo that's so coveted? What are you doing to grasp their attention? Can you even get their attention? Can you keep their attention?
yep,
Those are the things that I'm sure that these companies are thinking about these things, but it just feels like to me there are times where it still feels formulaic, like I'm watching wrestling from years ago, and there's not an emphasis on moving it into something that meets the needs of today's generation. And let's be honest, all of us, because all of us now, we've gotten spoiled and to the point where we just don't have the patience that we used to. I will throw myself under the bus on that one too. We
yep,
just don't. I'm saying possibly shorter matches. Um, I think more. I think save your shows for the matches and the action, but utilize social media more for your backstage promos, some of your interviews, some of those things. I think that people just want to see action. If I'm gonna watch a 2.5 to 3 hour whatever it is, I want to be entertained from start to finish. That's not saying that those video packages and promos aren't useful and aren't vital to the story, but I feel like there's a place for them. But I feel like if you can jam pack your shows with just nonstop action, just you got match after match, give some people some variety too. Because the other thing, I talked to someone who hadn't watched wrestling in probably 25 years, and it was one of my cousins. And they watched SmackDown one week, and they said all they really did for 40 minutes was just talk in the ring, and it was a bloodline segment. It's like, that's interesting, because it's a part of the story. So how do you do that without running off new viewers, but do it in a way where you're not turning off your current ones? I think that's the line that a lot of these companies have to balance is, do you make some of these backstage promos YouTube exclusives? People are going to go to your YouTube anyway. Just brainstorm. I gotta.
yeah. You know what, Jeff? Let the people like a Karrion Cross, who obviously it does amazing work on social media. Let somebody like that, who maybe not getting a lot of attention on the shows, let him be a guy that could do the promo. I'm telling you, man, I miss Bray Wyatt because of what he did, not so much as a wrestler, but behind the scenes. That was captivating TV. I don't think we get enough of that. And you're right. You can't. They're afraid to fill up a show with a lot of promos. And I get it. Especially Netflix wants. They want the action, right? They want the action. But I think that promos lead to that. And if they start dwindling those down, they're taking a big part out of wrestling, especially for me. I can't get into things unless I see good promos.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I loved about TNA. When we first started watching, when Jeff got me into it, I liked it because they would do the funny stuff, they would do the horror kind of stuff, they would do the, and these promos were what led me to, and that's what I don't think they're doing anymore. I really don't. I don't think that they're building it up. These Cena things where he comes out and he talks for a half an hour. And he basically is just repeating the same things he's saying week after week after week, where he's saying, oh, I'm this way because it's your fault. You did this. You made me like this, over and over and over again. We've heard it. We don't need to keep hearing it no matter how long you want him to talk. So, yeah, dude, like one thing I do like that what TNA is trying to do, and I've said this before too, I like the Santino being a kind of owner / comic relief / manager / GM, because I think that's one thing we're missing today too, is we're missing, Paul Heyman's obviously doing it, but we're missing managers, things like that, these little things that just add to the story. And that is what sucks you in. And like Jeff said, putting it on vignettes, doing a little vignette on TikTok where you have to go there to watch it, doing a little vignette on Twitter or YouTube or wherever, that is going to attract you and other viewers that may be not liking this long stuff to go and watch your show, because now they're seeing this and they're curious. What's happening here? That's where Bray was a master. He would put these little things on his Twitter, and then all of a sudden you went like a flock of sheep to watch the show because you're thinking, what is he doing? Nobody's doing it anymore. And I think that's, stuff like that is what we're missing. And they have mediums to do it, and they should use it, because, matches are fine, but maybe when you change a storyline up, maybe stick a vignette in there as to why, how did that happen? Where did we go to get here? And bridge a gap. And then you get people interested and you suck people in. So yeah, I agree. And I think that more of that has to happen, because if not, it's just going to be week to week to week. And maybe you'll get a good show and maybe you won't get a good show. And just, you don't have to look any further than history books and old school stuff and bring some of that back. So that was a good one. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Man,
good stuff.
Good discussion.
Yep.
We might have two round tables out of this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to what to watch for. What do you say?
There's a lot of stuff to watch for in wrestling this week. Yeah.
I would say so. So yeah, we'll get into what to watch for, and then we'll go into our favorite.
Close up the show here because I know we're running a little bit late. So,
yeah, but first one, Under Siege Friday.
TNA Under Siege, guys. We will of course be doing the Thursday show, which will be we'll do our predictions and stuff for Under Siege, and Under Siege certainly looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. Now I always forget: is this one that you get with the app?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought so. So yeah, this looks like it's fun. It's going to be a fun card. We're getting some matches. What is it? Jeff Hardy, I think, and Nick Nemeth are battling.
I think.
So
yeah,
pretty sure it's Jeff or Nick Hardy. Matt Hardy and Nick Nemeth, because Jeff's not allowed in Canada. So but yeah, we're getting some good stuff here. And of course, they'll lead up to that on Thursday's show. So make sure you come out and see that. But yeah, this is kind of one of those tweener shows, but it should be good. And
Matt Cardona earned a title shot.
Yep.
Against Macklin.
Yep.
So that's going to be good.
Yep.
Let's see. I'm pretty sure we'll have Tessa there.
Yep.
So yeah, it's gonna be some, and I think Moose. Let me look and see what Moose has. All right. So far, we've got Trick Williams and Frankie Kazarian going up against Joe Hendry and Elijah.
Okay.
We've got Masha Slamovich defending her title against Victoria Crawford. The Nimitz versus Matt Hardy and Leon Slater.
That's right. Yeah, Leon. Yep.
Tessa Blanchard with Robert Stone versus Ariana Grace with
Yep.
Santino Marella. AJ Francis versus Mike Santana. Eddie Edwards versus Cody Deaner.
That's right. The last chance to save his job. Yeah.
And then we've got the TNA Knockouts World Championship. It's a rematch. Spitfire against Ash and Heather by Elegance.
Yep.
So should be good.
Yeah, it looks like a fun one. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one. And so yeah, make sure you join us for Under Siege, and we'll do all the predictions on Thursday night show.
Yep.
All right, we got more.
Right.
There's
more.
We talked about this one early.
Saturday night's main event coming up.
Yep. Saturday night's main event is coming up on the 24th, so 8 days away. And this, like I said, this got some different things going on it. The main event's of course going to be R-Truth and John Cena, and we see that picture up there. You've got half dark, half light. Does Truth bring him a little more to the light side in this? That's kind of what I'm expecting. Does he get a little cracked smile out of John Cena at some point? I'm kind of think that's the direction that they're moving in this. And then, of course, we've got other matches and stuff on this card as well. Let me check and see.
Jey Uso versus Logan
Paul. Yep. And then the winner takes on Gunther.
That's right.
Yep.
You've got CM Punk and Sami Zayn versus Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker.
Oh, Sammy's gonna turn, but I don't know when.
Then you've got a steel cage match. Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest.
Good old-fashioned steel cage match on a Saturday night's main event. That's a cool one because they used to have those a lot. I remember Hulk Hogan and King Kong Bundy in a steel cage match on Saturday night's main event.
Do they do the blue cage, Joe?
Oh, I'd love to see that. That would be awesome. It was a smaller cage, I remember.
Cage.
But it was blue. Yeah, that'd be cool. I would like to see that. These are usually fun. I like the old school style. I like when they bring Jesse the Body back and the old announcers and stuff like that. I like the little tributes and stuff to these past shows. So I'm sure this will probably be fun.
Yeah, this will be a lot of fun.
And then we got NXT.
Yeah, we've got NXT.
Which will be on Tazzy's channel.
Yes, NXT.
Just a reminder. So go check out Tazzy's stream.
Let me pull up the card for that.
It's Battleground, right? Yeah.
Yep, Battleground. Pulling it up right now. There
is a pre-show for it. So make sure you're watching that. It's from the Yuengling Center in Tampa, Florida.
You got Oba Femi versus Miles Bourne.
Yeah, for the NXT title.
You've got the NXT Women's Champion, Stephanie Vaquer versus Jordan Grace.
Does Jordan Grace get the NXT Women's title this soon? Yeah, okay.
TNA World Championship, Joe Hendry defends against Trick Williams.
Talked about it earlier. Does Joe lose the title?
And Tony D'Angelo is going up against Stacks, so that should be good too. So some interesting stuff.
Just 4 matches on the card, but really, really good stuff there.
Yeah.
That should really be very entertaining. We could see some really crazy results. Imagine if Jordan wins and Joe loses.
Yeah.
Crazy to think about, right?
That would be interesting.
Yeah, it would. Yes, it would.
Yeah.
And then we've got AEW.
Yep.
Double or Nothing.
So what we have thus far, we've got the finals of the Owen Hart tournament for men and women. Hangman Adam Page going up against Will Ospreay should be a great match.
Yeah.
Jamie Hayter going up against Mercedes Moné in the finals on the women's side. AEW Women's World Championship, Toni Storm against Mina Shirakawa. Tag Team Championship, Hurt Syndicate against the Sons of Texas. Please let me know if these are not confirmed. I'm just looking up what's out there right now. Winners get title shots at All In. Stretcher match between Mark Briscoe and Ricochet. So there we go.
Okay. And FTR versus Nigel McGuinness and Daniel Garcia.
That should be fun.
Yeah. And that's on Sunday, guys. So just keep that in mind. We do not do our Between the Ropes show when there's a pay-per-view on Sunday for the people that are going to be watching, of course. So enjoy it. But yeah, we won't be doing this one next week because of the pay-per-view on Sunday. So, you know how we
Anarchy in the Arena match too, Joe.
Oh, Anarchy in the okay. So we have Anarchy in the Arena as well. So go check it out next Sunday. There is a lot of wrestling this week, guys, to for your viewing pleasure. So you should have a lot of fun if you're a wrestling fan, and certainly go and check some of these out. Obviously, if you're going to be entertained by them, and if you're not, then don't watch.
Don't watch. Do something else.
Right. Good stuff. All right, so that's what to watch for. It's going to be a big week, and of course, like I said, we'll be back on Tuesday for Fireflies, and then of course we'll be back for Thursday's TNA, and that will be the prediction show for the pay-per-view, which will be then on Friday. So we'll have 3 shows this week: Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So join us. Yep. All right, we're going to favorite moments, guys. You know how this works. Give us your favorite moments in wrestling during the week. Good night, Chris. We'll see you later. Yeah, I see we're getting people dropping out because I know we're going a little bit late. So we'll try to work through this very, very quickly and get the show done. But yeah, give us your 3, your 2, and your 1 favorite moments of the week in wrestling. Now, I will tell you, I'm going to have a hard time picking because I didn't get to watch. I didn't get to watch TNA. I don't think I watched much of SmackDown, so I'm not going to have much to pick from. But yeah, let's get your favorite moments. Let us know going 3, going 2, going 1. So, Jeff, what is your number 3?
My number 3 moment of the week is seeing MJF and the Hurt Syndicate in the ring, and MJF not getting his skull completely knocked off by Shelton Benjamin. That they got me briefly. And I love it when wrestling does that, and you think you know what's about to happen, and then they go the opposite direction, which I like it. So
yeah. My number 3 was the tag team match on Raw with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley, and they beat, of course, Roxanne Perez and Julia. I know this caused a little bit of a stir there too, because a lot of people were saying, why have Roxanne and Julia come up only to take a loss? But I do like the fact that you're seeing the heelish kind of stuff again from Rhea Ripley. And how long is it going to be before Rhea just turns and smacks Io Sky, and Rhea's going to turn? Rhea's better as a heel. You could say what you will. She's one of those people who it doesn't matter what she does, people are going to like her regardless. And so I think that was just a cool little tease. See, again, now this is the kind of stuff that I like. I like these little kind of teases that are going to, show you where things are maybe going a little bit. And I like this one. I think it was done very well with Rhea just kind of giving her that little glance. And I enjoyed it. And I thought the match was good too. You saw past and present, present and future. And that's always a cool thing too. So Julia and Roxanne are going to be stars in the women's division in WWE. So I really enjoyed that. So, all right, let's see what people have as their threes. We've got Tatum Paxley versus Thea Hale from NXT. Clown says Indy Hartwell making her debut. The Miles Bourne promo from NXT. Thursday's TNA show as a whole, especially Indy Hartwell's debut. See, I missed it. I have to go back and watch it. Greg says AAA. Yeah, the announcement about the AAA pay-per-view is pretty cool. Conrad says New Japan Pro Wrestling Boss J tournament.
Yeah, best of Super Juniors. Conrad, how do you think Nick Wayne does in the tournament?
The Super Juniors tournament. My number 3 is Miles Bourne.
Kushida's in it, Joe, too.
Oh, really? Okay, that's cool. Andrew says Tatum Paxley's character developments and Shotzi and Gigi Dolan left WWE and Indies TNA debut. All right. If anybody does not have any more number 3s, we will move on. Jeff, what is your number 2?
Number 2, I'll keep it short. Jeff Cobb, JC Mateo, whatever you want to call him, having his first match in WWE. We've heard the rumblings. It's been a while, but he's there now. So interested to see what he does going forward. But yeah, he looked good on Friday.
Good stuff. My number 2, and it kind of confused me for a little while until I started to think about it. But the whole thing about Gunther coming out with that challenge that he did, and I was wondering exactly why they're going to do this. Because, Gunther was away from that, and then all of a sudden he wants a challenge. There's really only 2 reasons why you could think of that logically they would do this. And one is that Jey Uso loses to Logan Paul, which I don't think is going to happen. Or, and I mentioned this earlier, is this what is going to bring back Goldberg for his final match? Because it would seem that maybe it does, right? Because I even think they said that Atlanta might be the scene of where this could be. So I don't know, but there's something weird going on there. I like the segment. I like the chemistry that Jay and Gunther have. And I wouldn't be sorry about seeing another match between the two of them because the match was good. And I don't really think they're going to give Gunther the title back. Not this soon. I don't think Jay would have won it to just lose it like this. So I think there's something up and there's some plans for something going on. But I enjoyed that. I like storyline and I like when they're setting things up. So I thought that was cool. All right. People's number 2 is Alexa Bliss and Charlotte backstage segment, says Alexa Bliss Gamer. Jeff Cobb's arrival, says Conrad. My number 2 is the return of Alexa Bliss. Damien says Indy Hartwell's debut. Bonus Baby says my oldest daughter, the new nurse, helped successfully deliver her first set of twins. Wow, that's a good one, Bonus Baby. Awesome. I like it. I love it. Conrad says glad Alexa's back. She's been getting good reactions. Good is probably underselling it. Andrew Stevens says Jeff Cobb's immediate impact and MJF gets 3 thumbs up from the Hurt Syndicate. Clown says Soraya putting all. Yeah, you know what? That one is going to be that one. Clown actually picked that's my number 1 that I'm gonna call out tonight. Soraya putting all the idiots fans on notice to know the boundaries and try not to touch the wrestler. Someone actually kissed her or tried to kiss her at a signing. Ridiculous. Yeah. She had. I'll talk about it more. That's my number 1. I'm very glad to see that she kind of hit back in a way, and again in a good way. It wasn't violence or anything like that, but she made it very clear. And so yeah, I saw that actually literally an hour before we went on the show. So yeah, I like that. All right. So let's get to our number 1s, Jeff. So what is your number 1?
My number 1 is not necessarily from a wrestling show or anything, but it's a thank you to all of you. I don't even know if Joe got a chance to see this yet, but 6 hours ago, we got an email saying that our channel has reached 600,000 views.
No kidding. I
Um,
didn't see it.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. So that
Oh,
doesn't
wow, dude.
happen. That doesn't happen without all of you. So thank all of you for rocking with us over the years and checking out our stuff and becoming family. So thank all of you for that. So that's my number one for the week.
Wow, that's crazy, dude. We started this all those years ago, and we're at like, that's nuts, man. We're getting close to 1 million views on the channel. That's insane. That's insane. And thank you. Yes, all of you that have watched us over the years and still do. Yeah, I can't thank you enough for that. That's amazing. So wow, that's cool. Breaking news. I love it. My number one, like I said, was the Soraya thing. And Jeff, if you didn't see it, watch her video. Yeah, she just posted a little thing. She was driving home from a signing or wherever she was, and a fan literally tried to come up and felt the need to try to attempt to kiss her. She basically was very nice about it and just kind of said that that's not appropriate to do. Don't do that. You don't have a right to do anything like that. And she came out and said she's a hugger and she's always done that. Like she's hugged some of her fans and things like that. But that doesn't give anyone the right to think that you could just go and do that to someone because you're paying to get an autograph. Be better. My God, be better. Keep your boundaries. Stop being weird. And ruining this for people because this is when they don't want to do it, and I don't blame them. But yeah, that I'm glad she spoke up. I'm glad she said it, and she didn't say it in a mean way. She's very nice and composed about it when she could have been extremely angry and extremely upset and said, F this, I'm not doing this anymore. That's creepy as shit. But my God, just stop it. That's so ridiculous. Don't be that person. Good God. And if you are feeling like that or have some go speak to someone. You need some help. Go talk to a therapist, a psychologist, something. But good God, don't do that. It's creepy. And you don't want to be known as that person that does that a wrestler literally has to call out. So yeah, but good for her. And I'm glad she did it. Yeah. So, and Jeff said, don't be that fan. Yeah, 100%. 100%. All right, let's see what we've got for ones here. We got the AEW World Title Steel Cage match is Damien's. The original Sheik Dark Side of the Ring episode on Vice on Tuesday. Excellent video. So David Paul. Sabu getting his flowers, even under the circumstances. I'm glad he's getting the love he has been, says Clown. Alexa Bliss qualifying for the Money in the Bank match, says Alexa Bliss Gamer. My oldest daughter followed up helping bring twins to the world by getting married a couple days. Wow, dude, you just got all the amazing news.
I know, man.
Holy. Her and my new son-in-law said after 10 years together, it was time. Wow, that's amazing, dude. That's great stuff. Brandon, my number one is the build-up to this weekend's action with Under Siege to Battleground to Saturday night's main event or Double or Nothing. Yeah, it's going to be a good week, man. It's going to be a fun week. Give people their flowers in their lives, says Clown. Conrad says MJF and Hurt Syndicate and Penta versus Chad. Yeah, that was good. Penta versus Chad Gable was good. I would agree with that. And I'm going to have to go back and watch the MJF Hurt Syndicate thing now that I saw the highlights. Tributes to Sabu and Steve Mongo McMichael. Congrats, bonus baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. Sorry we went a little long, guys. We were doing some stuff and we had a lot to talk about. We haven't been around in a long time, but again, like Jeff said, I will echo. Thank you all so much. Without you, we wouldn't be doing this. Jeff and I would just be talking on our phones. So yeah, thank you so much for all the love and support over the years. That's why we do it. We get all that stuff from you. And the feedback and everything like that. We appreciate all of you. And here's to 1 million someday. That would be crazy amazing. So thank you all. This is our favorite show that we do. And there's reasons for that we love to do it. So thank you all for coming tonight and staying with us as long as we did. And those people who listen from overseas, like Alicia, that was up until 4 o'clock in the morning. God bless. So, all right. That's going to do it for this episode of Between the Ropes. Thanks, guys, for coming out. We appreciate every one of you. Please make sure to drop a like on the stream before you leave. Make sure to sub if you haven't done so already, and hit that notification bell to be notified about when we got future content. Come out Tuesday and celebrate the Jodie stuff with Jeff and with Chris. I'm going to try to be there if I can, and be there to celebrate with all of us for that. And then join us on Thursday for TNA, and then join us on Friday for Under Siege. So have a great rest of your week, everyone. Please stay safe. Be kind to one another always, and hopefully we will see you all on the next episode of The Insiders. Have a great night, guys. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.